Hi guys, and welcome to the channel. This is a bit of a new thing for me. I've not been brought up this way, so it's quite out my comfort zone. But anyway, just be warned, if you're watching the channel, it's going to be a series of videos. Just be warned, I do swear from time to time. You are going to see a little bottle of beer and maybe the odd cigarette. So if you've maybe got, a young child, 9 years old, something like that, then maybe you want to watch it first, then let him watch it. Because, bringing new people into the hobby, I think it's quite an important thing. A little bit about myself. My background has been an engineer for 32 years, mainly in power generation, so that makes me electrical and mechanical. I've always done RC since the age of 12, planes, helicopters, all large scale, and then I had a period of time off, and I've done cars a little bit, but they're not really my thing. And then I did a sailing boat, just a refurbishment of a sailing boat, so just putting my skills to it and just got the bug. And for the last, I'd say, good 6 months to a year, I've been learning, and it's been a big learning curve, learning boats. There's a lot of things I didn't realise, like how imperative the CG is, the positioning of stuff, very much like a plane. And the biggest killer, I think, for a lot of us is what motor, what ESC, and what prop. I mean, that is always the amount of videos I see, banging on about props, Ironclad, RC Cozy, all good guys to learn off. I've watched many of the videos, so a bit of a shout out to you guys. You guys are giving the inspiration to do this. I have posted recently, I've recently come back to Facebook and social media. I found that in doing what I did before in a different aspect of 3D printing, that I spent more time, it took time away from me to actually, from doing the 3D printing that I loved, and it kind of killed it. But I'm combining now the two together with the RC boats, and yeah, so these are videos that are going to be unedited, so you're not going to watch me speeded up sanding for 4 hours of sanding compacted into 3 minutes, because personally myself, when I'm watching a video like that, it bores me and I find myself skipping. I don't need to watch a video for 20 minutes of someone quickly sanding, quickly making this, slotting that in there, then talking for 2 seconds, and then it all speeded up again. It's just, no, it's not for me. So it's going to be how it is, said how it is. Like I say, just discretion if you're letting your child, watch it. So I'm not going to say without further ado, I'm not going to tell you to hit like and subscribe. It's mainly just for learning. Maybe hearing some comments, letting me know what you think, or have you tried this, or what about that, or maybe you want some advice on what I know and pick my brains. I did a couple of short reels that I posted on Facebook on a couple of RC groups, and to be honest with you, I was absolutely bowled over purely by the amount of attention it got, which was definitely not expected. Which gave me the confidence to do this, because sitting and talking to a camera it's a strange thing. I've even said to my family, if you take the mick out of me once, that's it, I'm not doing it, I'm stopping. So anyway, this is the first video, so that's what it's all about. And what I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna do a series of videos through a particular build that I'm doing at the moment. I do tend to have 2 or 3 things going on at the same time, so while I'm waiting for bits on one thing, I've got someone else to go to. I'm going to try and do a string of videos basically on building the boat. We're going to touch on the 3D printing. If any of you guys want to know about the 3D printing, it can be a whole topic in itself. Maybe you've got a 3D printer, never used it, don't know how to use it, gave up on it. If I see enough comments of people asking about what settings, blah blah blah, what type of material I'm using, like I say, I'm going to touch on it in these videos, but I'm not going to harp on about it. If you want to know more, I'll do some separate videos if the response is good. And I think that's the best way to go, because some people just want to watch about RC and others want to you know, see how you're building it. They don't want to watch and listen to half an hour of someone dribbling on about printer settings. So let's crack on. We don't really say that in the UK of without further ado. It's more crack on. So like I say, fairly new, because I know a lot of guys have been doing boats for 30, 20, whatever years. I'm relatively new to it, but with an experienced background of RC modelling. Anything from, you know, carbon fibre calves to balsa and plywood build, two-stroke engines up to 110cc, so some of the big stuff, and also fun little jets and all that. Anyway, some of you may, I'm going to flip the camera around now, you're not going to see too much of me now, it's just an intro to who I am. Okay, so we're flipped round now. So a lot of you are going to remember, if you've seen it, the blue boat that I put on, the blue mono, which a lot of you might see in the reel on. I'll take the top off at some point and I'll show you guys about that one and the setup inside it. But what we're going to talk about is this, primarily this build. So it's virtually the same boat, but we're going to go for a twin drive on this boat. So the parts have all been 3D printed, some raw 3D print parts. You know, you can see how they come out off the printer. You know, a bit of sanding. You know, if you've got any layer lines, which does now and then occur, but not too often, just sand them out. So, sanded out. I use a filler that you actually use, because I know someone's going to ask this. A filler that you normally use for doing bumpers on cars, because it obviously goes to ABS very well, and it's got some flexibility to it, instead of, you know, your standard Isopon car filler, which is obviously quite rigid. So this does have some flexibility, but you can't sand it with too rough a sandpaper. So this is the main build. You can see the sections where it's built and the internals. Now on this one, it's getting close to putting some colour on it. So the way I normally start off is I put the parts together. Some people are going to say, how do you join your parts? I prefer to epoxy parts. I know some people use acetone and something else, and other people use acrylate, super glue. I don't have a lot of confidence in those type of glues, to be honest with you. I've seen splits in the past, I've seen boats snap in half. So what I do is I epoxy all my boats. All my sections are epoxied together. Little trick I do from little areas that you are going to see. And before I turn the hull over, just obviously I've put water pickups in the bottom. I just prefer the look of them, and I prefer the neatness of them instead of having a tube coming off the rudder for cooling. That's just personal preference. So where you've got inside, and you can see where I've epoxied here, I mix. Some epoxies go off white, some will go off clear. I tend to use quite a quick setting epoxy, and I put in a tiny bit of acrylic paint on the end tip of my mixing stick. It does two things. It's going to turn the epoxy black, for one, so it's going to mould in with whatever. You can put whatever colour you want in it, red, black, blue, whatever hull you've printed, in what colour. And not only does it not show up as bad, and it looks a little bit more uniform, but it also shows you that you've mixed your epoxy thoroughly if the colour is consistent in the epoxy. So just, I don't know, you want to call that a hack, a tip, or what, or it's just common sense. But so that's the boat. We've got some poo noodles to shove up inside the front of the nose in case the worst happens. Hopefully it'll stick out the water. But yes, so this is sanded down now to round about a 400 grit. Nothing too amazing, not looking for an ultra finish. Now there's a couple of cans I use a high coat high body filler, which comes in a spray can, so I'll spray that on, look for any existing join marks, refill of those, and then after that your standard same make, high coat, grey primer, and then choose whatever top coat I'm putting on. I do tend to use car paints, I must admit. There's a local company to me that are absolutely fantastic, and they just come out with all the charts. They know I do the boats, and we all have a little bit of a laugh and a brew and a chuckle, and go through the colours. I often do go down with one colour in my head, and come away with a completely different one. This one I'm thinking is going to go, there's Porsche Taycan paint code M3R, which is like a metallic cherry, and then I'm going to have carbon fibre stripped down it. Now the hull is constructed out of carbon fibre. It's not made from your average full-on PLA. If you're printing from PLA, you're going to have problems. You are going to see it absorb a lot of water. You are going to come across issues, especially in summer. You're going to get a lot of warpage. It's also very heavy. So this stuff has not been out too long. It's carbon fibre PLA. I use Erie one. It's not a reel from or anything. It's just what I use. There is another make that I do use, eSun. Didn't find the quality to be as good as the Erie one. So it's got carbon fibres within it, and yeah, I mean, you can certainly tell when you're sanding because it's bloody tough. So it's good stuff. Not had any problems with it. You do have to print at a slightly higher bed temperature, and you do have to print it slightly higher tip temperature. And one thing I will absolutely say is change your tip every time you do a print, for the sake of what they cost. You know, I buy 25 off Amazon for £10. It's not worth it. Carbon, anything with carbon in or anything fibrous going through your printer is going to destroy that tip. I mean, if you want me to cover the 3D, I can show you. I mean, I've even bought recently a ruby tip to maybe get a whole boat printed without changing the tip. Now these tips are £45 each, and I destroyed one in one print. They're just not up to the job, so you're better off just use your normal brass ones. Keep it cheap, keep it simple, and use them. So this is going to be masked off shortly. Borderline touching on the 3D printing. I have two printers. I print a FDM. Just doing a time lapse at the minute. This is a battery tray that is being printed at the moment, so I use an FDM, and I also use a resin print. The resin print, I use ABS water washable, which is fantastic. If you want to print up little parts that always cost you the money, you know, so if you just want to make a strut, you can print that off. It's so easy to do. You know, you can smack it up on Tinkercad or whatever your chosen is. You know, same goes for servo brackets, receiver boxes, plate for your motors. You can pretty much, and you know, you can make it all fit in very nicely, you know, and look the part, you know, and it's set out very well. And one thing I do like is, I can't stand it when someone lifts the cover off a boat and it just looks a mess inside there. You know, I like it nice and tidy. If you're wondering how the carbon look is on these pieces, they do come out black. When you've printed one, it will come out completely black, looking like that. And all I've done is stick a bit of wrap over them. That's all, that's it. Just stuck on some wrap on Amazon, £10 a roll. So this is now going to be masked off. Next time you see it, it's going to be in yellow, which is the high coat, and then we're going to rub that back virtually till it's nearly gone, and that's just going to fill in any fine holes within the print. It's weighing at the moment about, what was it I weighed it in at, about 1.1 kilos. So you can see the difference in weight through using carbon fibre filament rather than standard PLA, because I can actually put my wall thickness down, getting rid of a load of material. You know, this to print this is what, 5 days. I do use an old printer. It's about 7 years old now, but it's bomb proof, and it's served me. It's seen probably 2 or 3 printers come and go. So, and it's got a nice big bed on it. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. It's been a bit boring. We'll move on to some more interesting things like what motors. This is going to have 2 3670s put in. I do tend to sort of dial down what I'm going to put into my boat before I start printing it, and I do a big shopping list on AliExpress. You know, if you're looking at Amazon, oh wow, some of the prices, you're going to pay 3-4 times as much. So I'd rather wait 2 weeks. I've got other things I can do with my time for 2 weeks while I'm waiting for all the parts. Sometimes I order more parts than I need, so I've got a little collection for maybe next time, or, you know, if something, I ball something up, like, you know, if you're bending, I don't know, your tube for your drive shaft, I use a bending tool. I don't bend them by hand, because last time I tried that, it just crimpled on me. That got thrown at the wall. That pissed me off. But these things are sent to try us. Everything's a learning curve. So yeah, so that's where we're up to. We've got future builds, which is the cat that you can see up there. So that's next. Obviously this one's finished, just waiting for the weather to warm up a little bit before I take that out, because it's like 0 degrees outside at the moment, and I don't particularly fancy freezing my tits off for an hour. You know, I'm running the boat in cold lipos. I'm a warm weather person. So that's where we're at. So yeah, I'll catch you guys next time, and we'll go a little bit further deeper into it. Very much this video is an intro video, just to kick the channel off with. So I hope you find it interesting. Let me know in the comments what you want to hear about, what you want to see about, and you know, I'll try my best to get it covered, and we'll go from there. So enjoy the rest of your day anyway, guys, and good luck with your boats.